let's talk about the N in mania. Remember, we're spelling mania. M, militarism. A, alliances. N, nationalism. Now, we should know what nationalism is because we spent several chapters talking about it, and like I said back then, we're going to talk about it until the end of the year. All right, well, let me show you this map real quick, okay? So, there's this war here, okay? And it's called the Russo-Turkish War, okay? Now, the Ottoman Empire, okay, as you can see at the bottom of the map, the main part right where it says Ottoman Empire, that's actually what we would call the country of Turkey today. So that's why it's called the Russo-Turkish War. I'm going to talk about it in the notes here in a second. But here's the deal. Russia wants to get down into the Mediterranean Sea. Now, ever since we've talked about Russia, think back with Catherine the Great, Peter the Great, Russia has always wanted to be able to trade in warm seas because that's where the money is, right? If you're up in the north of Russia where it's cold, nobody trades up there. They want to get down to the Mediterranean Sea, and remember, the Ottoman Empire is weak, it's falling apart. Countries have been breaking away from it, like Greece and Serbia way back in the last couple chapters. Well, now, guys, and also Russia tried to take over parts of the Ottoman Empire, which started the Crimean War. Well, Russia's back at it again. And what they want is this area called the Dardanelles Strait, which is a small strip of water that is in the middle of that circle. Because here's the deal. If they control the Dardanelles Strait, what they can do is they can now trade in the Mediterranean Sea, as you can see from this arrow. And if they can trade in the Mediterranean Sea, then they can start shipping their goods and buying goods, exporting, importing all over Europe, and they can become a world economic power. Okay? It's kind of what they wanted to do when they started the Crimean War. All right, so anyway, the Russo-Turkish War happens. Russia, like I said, wanted more Ottoman land, and they especially wanted to control the Dardanelles Strait, as you can see from that map that I just showed you. Okay? Why they wanted to do that, like I said, was they wanted access to warm waters where they can now trade and become a world economic power. Now, as you can imagine, Britain and France and Germany probably don't want that because, once again, balance of power, right? Bismarck, before he got forced to resign, tried to maintain a balance of power. And if Russia steps up, then they become more powerful and the balance is upset. So, after the war, now Britain, France, and Germany are afraid because Russia technically wins the Russo-Turkish War, and now Britain, France, and Germany are like, oh crap, here comes Russia, now they're going to become powerful, all right? So Bismarck is going to do what Bismarck does best. Now, we're going back in time and we're talking about Bismarck before he got forced to resign. So he called this thing called the Congress of Berlin in 1878, all right? Now, at the Congress of Berlin, not to be confused with the Berlin Conference in Africa, about African imperialism, not that one, later. So the Congress, the Congress of Berlin happened, Berlin Conference happened, anyway, don't worry about the imperialism conference. So, the Congress of Berlin happened after the Russo-Turkish War. It was led by Bismarck before he was dismissed, and basically Europe, very much like they're going to do in Africa, divides the Ottoman territory, all right? Now, this division of Ottoman territory is really going to piss a lot of people off, and it's going to really kind of push Europe towards a conflict. All right, so Russia's mad because Russia hoped to get area in this place called Bulgaria, which was down by the Dardanelles, and basically the land that they got was like 1/3 the size of land they expected to get, so Russia is going to leave this Congress kind of pissed off. All right, but there's another group of people that are going to be angry about this Congress. All right, so Austria-Hungary. The old Habsburg Empire that we've talked about forever, right? Remember, Austria-Hungary was forced to unite. Austria and Hungary were forced to unite. One country, two different capitals. That was a couple chapters ago. But anyway, Austria-Hungary gets this area in the Ottoman Empire called Bosnia and another area called Herzegovina. Now, so what? Well, these areas are heavily populated by Slavic people. It's an ethnicity that is very common in what's called the Balkan Peninsula. All right, so Bosnia, Herzegovina, heavily populated by Slavic people. Russia is also heavily populated by Slavic people. So who cares? Well, look at the pink area on this map, all right? All the pink area that you see is pretty much Bosnia on the west side and Herzegovina on the north side. Well, here's the deal. Serbia, right here, and Montenegro, right here, you see, what they wanted was, they had hoped to unite Serbia, Montenegro, Bosnia, Herzegovina, all into one Slavic nation. That's where the nationalism comes in. They are nationalistic, and they want all Slavic people to be united into one nation. But now they're pissed because who took over Bosnia and Herzegovina? Austria-Hungary. Now you need to remember that because that is going to be the trigger that kicks the war off. Okay, so you've got Serbia and Montenegro pissed off because they want to unite into one Slavic nation. As a matter of fact, there's a word for that. It's called Pan-Slavism. All right, so anytime you see the word pan in front of a word, it means like universal. It means everywhere. So like Pan-Slavism means Slavs everywhere should be united into one nation. All right, so that's what Pan-Slavism means. Now here's another political cartoon. You see a pot that's about ready to boil over and explode, and on the pot it says Balkan Troubles. Well, the Balkan Peninsula is where Serbia, Montenegro, Bosnia, Herzegovina, that's where they all are, in the Balkan Peninsula. And on top of it, trying to keep the pot from blowing over, are Europeans. You've got the Kaiser, you've got the French ruler, you've got the English king. They're all sitting on top of the pot trying to keep it from exploding. And what this is showing you in this picture is basically one of the big things that's going to cause World War I. Okay? So pause if you need to. All right, now, the I is very simple in mania, M-A-N-I. It's imperialism. Now, Europeans, we talked about this in the last chapter, Europeans are competing for land and natural resources all over the world. And you can imagine that that creates a lot of tension between the nations. Everybody wants to get the resources, everybody wants to get land, and they come close to fighting over it. I mean, think about the spheres of influence in China that we talked about, right? Europeans were carving up China into spheres of influence, and that led the United States to be like, whoa, wait a second, we should have an open door policy to make sure there's not a war. All right, so yes, the spheres of influence in China were kind of carved out, and Europeans at times, maybe came to blows or came close to coming to fighting over China. But think about Africa too, right? Africa was being chopped up and divided up by Europeans. And remember, they had to call the Berlin Conference to make sure that basically Europeans carved up Africa so they wouldn't go to war. Now you throw in the Boer Wars. Remember we talked about how Great Britain and the Dutch went to war over South Africa? And then you throw in the Russo-Turkish War. Basically, Europeans are competing all over the world for land. They're competing for natural resources all over the world. And that creates this kind of tension where it can only explode into a fight. All right? Pause if you need to. All right, now let's get to the fun part, tragic part, fun, tragic, I don't know. Anyway, so the last A in mania stands for the assassination of Francis Ferdinand. So guys, everything I've told you so far, and I'll show you an illustration of this at the very end. Imagine the militarism, the alliances, the nationalism, and the imperialism are all what are called underlying causes. Imagine that you've got this big barrel and you fill it with explosive material. One explosive material is militarism. Another explosive material is alliances. Another explosive material is nationalism, and then you dump some imperialism in there. All of those things are dangerous, but without fire, without a match to light it all up, it's just sitting there, right? Well, guys, here's the match that lights the barrel on fire. It's the assassination of Francis Ferdinand. Now, you might be like, who the heck is Francis Ferdinand? Well, Francis Ferdinand is the Archduke of Austria-Hungary. So he's kind of like the next guy in line to be the ruler of Austria-Hungary. And here's a photograph of Francis Ferdinand. All right? So Francis Ferdinand is the Archduke of Austria-Hungary, and as you know, Austria-Hungary took over Bosnia, they took over Herzegovina, and they kind of pissed Serbia off, right? So all the Slavic people that live under the Archduke are kind of pissed about all of this. So Slavic people of Bosnia, Herzegovina, Serbia, and Montenegro, they all want to unite into one nation, all right? So here's where that nationalism comes in again. So what's going to happen is there's going to be a group of terrorists known as the Black Hand. And they are going to plot to assassinate Francis Ferdinand to kind of make a statement to Austria-Hungary that, hey, we want to unite into a Slavic nation. Screw you, Austria-Hungary. We're going to kill the heir to the throne. That's the plan. So a terrorist organization called the Black Hand is going to plot to assassinate Francis Ferdinand. Now, guys, I could have you watch a video on this. I usually explain this in class. I draw this up on the board. But, guys, this is one of the most epic assassination attempts, and it's also one of the most epic failures of guys, it's boggling of the mind how this all goes down. And I can't wait to explain this to you. I'm going to do the best I can in a PowerPoint. All right? So, here's the deal. The assassins are led by this 19-year-old Bosnian named Gavrilo Princip. Now, Gavrilo here, 19 years old, not much older than you guys, is about ready to do something that's going to change the world. All right? Now, like I said, this assassination attempt is a crazy attempt, and I used to explain this. I don't even know if you guys know who the Three Stooges are, but I used to explain this as if the Three Stooges planned an assassination because it's that, like, jacked up. But let me kind of tell you the plan, all right? Now, this is going to take a bit, and I'm going to have to show you a horrible drawn picture I made, yes, on Microsoft Paint. But here's the deal, okay? There were six assassins, all right, that were in this attempt. Okay, Gavrilo Princip was one of them. Now, they all met, and they were all given a weapon. Some were given a grenade. Some were given pistols. All right? And the idea was, okay, take a break right now from taking notes and just listen to the story. The idea is that Ferdinand was going to be in a parade in the capital of Bosnia, which is called Sarajevo. He was going to be in a car, in an open-topped car, all right? And he was going to drive down this parade route in Sarajevo. So the idea the assassins had was they were going to line each assassin up, 6 assassins on the route. So that big curvy line, that is the route of the parade. And the first box, guys, is Ferdinand's car. Okay? So what they did was every assassin was given some kind of weapon. Like I said, some of them were given bombs, some of them were given pistols. Gavrilo Princip was said to be the best shot with a gun, so he was put at the very end. And the idea was, it's up to every assassin, which is the X, on the road, all right? And if the first assassin didn't do it for some reason, it was up to the second one. If the second one missed his chance, it was up to the third one. And at the very end, Gavrilo Princip would be the last line of defense to kill Francis Ferdinand. Now, one other thing. Every assassin was given a cyanide pill, where after you do the deed and you kill Ferdinand, you were supposed to put the cyanide pill under your tongue and commit suicide. It was a poison that would kill you. That way you couldn't snitch, right? Okay, so guys, here's how this assassination plays out. So Ferdinand's car rolls down the route. Now, there's a car behind him full of other people, but as the car goes down the route, it comes to the first assassin. Now, the first assassin, we don't know exactly what happened to him. Some people say he chickened out. Some people say there was a police officer nearby. But bottom line is, he doesn't kill Ferdinand. So, as you can see, guys, the car rolls up to the second assassin. Now, the second assassin had a grenade. Okay? But here's the deal. There was basically a timer on the grenade. And what ideally you're supposed to do is you're supposed to ignite it and you're supposed to count 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, and then throw it, and by the time it got to 3, 2, 1, boom, it would blow up and explode where it was supposed to explode. But the guy was nervous, hit the cap, forgot about the timer, and threw it. So 10, 9, 8, hits Ferdinand's car, bounces off. Ferdinand's driver sees it, speeds up, and the grenade rolls underneath the car behind and blows up and hits the car behind Ferdinand. Now, at this point, what happens is the bomb's gone off. There's a big, massive crowd watching. They're all in panic, all right? Ferdinand speeds away. He doesn't die. And now people are pointing the finger. There's the guy that threw the grenade. So the assassin that threw the grenade puts a cyanide pill in his mouth, runs to a bridge, looks down, sees some water, and jumps off a bridge, hoping to commit suicide and land in the water. The bottom is, the problem is, guys, when he lands in the water wasn't very deep. It was only a couple inches deep, so when he lands, he breaks his legs. Now, you might say, oh my goodness, this guy just jumped off a bridge, broke his legs, he's at the bottom. He takes the cyanide, doesn't he die? No, because the cyanide that they bought was not exactly the good stuff, so instead of killing him, it makes him throw up, like, he's like, blah, like throwing up everywhere. So the cops run down the ravine, they see him at the bottom, they grab him up, they beat the crap out of him, and they drag him away. And guys, that's the end of the assassination attempt. Or, is it? Because you might say, well, Lohan, I know this guy dies, but he didn't die in that attempt. So what happened? Well, here's what happened, guys. You see, after the botched assassination, Ferdinand goes about his business. He has to go deliver this speech. He goes and does it. And then afterwards, Ferdinand says, you know what, I'm going to go visit the people that were injured in the blast, because remember, the grenade did hurt some people behind him. So he wants to go to the hospital, guys, and visit some of the people that were injured in the blast, and then he wants to get the heck out of town. Now, here's the deal. All the assassins kind of ran away. Gavrilo Princip is kind of bummed. He's like, dang it, we didn't do it. Gavrilo Princip wanted to be like a legend. By the way, he was dying of tuberculosis, so there's no cure for that back in the day, so he was going to die anyway. He wanted to die a martyr. He wanted to die like a hero of Slavic people, and he didn't get his chance. So what does Gavrilo Princip do? Well, he goes to a local deli and has something to eat. Now, Ferdinand's driver, on the way to the hospital, accidentally, and this is fate, guys, call it whatever you want, accidentally takes a wrong turn. And rather than go down the street where the hospital is, the driver goes down the street where, ironically, Gavrilo Princip is sitting down and having a meal at a deli. So, the driver realizes what he's done and takes a wrong turn and stops the car and tries to turn around. Meanwhile, Gavrilo Princip looks up and sees Ferdinand right there in front of him. So, Gavrilo Princip, shocked, pulls out his gun and shoots 2 shots. One shot hits Ferdinand's wife, kills her. The other shot hits Ferdinand, kills him. He did it. What are the odds, though, guys? What are the odds that the driver would accidentally take a wrong turn, right? I know some people say, well, was the driver working for the Black Hand? No, he wasn't, guys. He literally took a wrong turn, all right? But anyway, bam, bam, Ferdinand's dead. Now, Gavrilo Princip puts cyanide in his mouth, and the cops drag him away, throwing up profusely again. So, sum it all up, guys. Basically, on June 28, 1914, Francis Ferdinand is assassinated by Gavrilo Princip in the capital city of Sarajevo. And here's that picture, guys. You can see Ferdinand's wife. She gets shot in the abdomen. Ferdinand himself gets shot in the neck. And that is how the assassination goes down. So once again, guys, if you want to look at a kind of diagram of it all, I made this years ago, guys. There's the big barrel full of explosives, militarism, alliances, nationalism, imperialism, and then look, the match that lights it all up is the assassination of Ferdinand, all right? So, almost done here, guys. One more slide. Pause if you need to. All right, now, what happens? Well, let's talk about the results of the assassination. Remember alliances? Well, here it goes. So Austria-Hungary declares war on Serbia, all right, because obviously Serbia, all right, and Bosnia, they were the people, Serbia was trying to break Bosnia away, right? So Austria-Hungary says, screw you, Serbia, we declare war. Now, Russia, guys, had a secret alliance with Serbia. Remember, Russia has a lot of Slavic people. They have an alliance with Serbia. So guess what? Russia announces that it's going to mobilize its forces, and mobilize means it's going to prepare for war to defend Serbia. So Russia says, hey, we've got your back, Serbia. Well, Germany, allied with Austria-Hungary, declares war on Russia. All right? So not too long after that, France declares war on Germany. So you guys can see this domino effect, right? Alliances. Do you guys see how this is all coming together, right? Now, here's the deal. You might be thinking, well, what about Great Britain? They're just back there chilling right now. Well, yeah, kind of. Let me tell you how Great Britain gets involved, okay? So, let me tell you this thing about the Schlieffen Plan. Now, remember, Otto von Bismarck was terrified that someday he would get caught between France and Russia in a two-front war where he has to fight in front of him and behind him. So, Germany had this plan called the Schlieffen Plan, all right? And the Schlieffen Plan was this. Germany expected that Russia, because they were kind of backwards militarily and industrially, remember guys, they've always been backwards, Russia would take a lot longer to prepare for war. So what Germany said was they were going to knock out France first. So the idea of the Schlieffen Plan was they're going to sneak through Belgium, invade through Belgium. Yes, Belgium, Leopold, the Belgian Congo, that Belgium. So their idea, guys, is they're going to invade right up here through Belgium and take France by surprise, because if Germany invaded right on the border of France, then that would be obvious. So their plan is sneak through Belgium and catch France by surprise. Beat the crap out of France, beat them down really quick, and then swing right back around and fight Russia, All right? And that way, if you knock France out quick, you swing around and fight Russia, and then you don't have to fight a two-front war. Here's the problem. You see, Belgium was a neutral country, and we've already known in the past that Belgium has ties to Great Britain. So, when Germany invades Belgium, that's when Great Britain declares war on Germany. Okay? So, by 1914, Europe is at war. All right? You guys see the domino effect of how that all happened, right? Oh, and by the way, just for fun, King Edward V of England, William II of Germany, and the Tsar of Russia, Nicholas II, they're all cousins. So this is kind of like a family feud. Isn't that fun? They're all related through Queen Victoria. But anyway, so World War I, in a way, is kind of a family feud too, but all of these guys are going to go to war. And guys, those are all the factors that led to World War I. Okay? That's the end of the notes, guys. I'll talk to you later.